The Ugandan, Kenyan and Tanzanian Railways corporations review plans to improve regional rail transport. Jubilee Dental becomes the first dental clinic in Uganda to attain the ISO certification. In our first detailed report, Uganda has taken a major step to secure its energy future after Cabinet approved government participation in the initial public offering of the Kenya Pipeline Company. The move is seen as strategic and timely. Dennis Segoa reports.
Through the Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC, Uganda will acquire a 20.15% strategic shareholding in Kenya Pipeline Company. The initial public offering, set for listing on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, will see 65% of KPC's issued share capital offered to local, regional and international investors, while the government of Kenya retains 35%.
So government, through the leadership and guidance of the President, tasked the Minister of Energy to make sure that government of Uganda purchases shares in this very important infrastructure. Kenyan Pipeline Company deals in two businesses only: to transport and to store petroleum products. So it is a pipeline and storage infrastructure. You know very well that the government of Uganda imports 95% of its oil products through this critical infrastructure.
With nearly 65% of transit volumes on the KPC system destined for Uganda, and Uganda contributing close to 35% of KPC's revenues, the gaining of stake in the company is seen as both strategic and commercially sound.
Because we are the second biggest in the company, next to the government of Kenya. So we will have kind of G2G understanding, government to government understanding. We planned ahead. We planned ahead and we have the money. Money is here, not money is coming. Money came. 255.4 million US dollars cash. What a wonderful customer. What a wonderful shareholder that KPC got.
Uganda imports approximately 95% of its petroleum products, about 2.96 billion litres annually, through Kenya via the port of Mombasa and the KPC pipeline system.
From PS21 or from Nairobi, this is where we issue the product that you get in Uganda through the Western Line to Kisumu, Eldoret. That is what you get on the other side.
The government of Kenya welcomed UNOC, and we purchased the shares at the established cost by the government of Kenya, which was 9 Kenyan shillings per share. Let me also remind you that in May 2024, Uganda National Oil Company signed a transportation and storage agreement with the KPC for the purposes of using the Kenya Pipeline Company system and infrastructure to handle the importation of all our products through Mombasa. UNOC handles our importation.
Officials say the new move strengthens bilateral ties with Kenya and reinforces regional integration while safeguarding Uganda's fuel supply chain and price stability.
The government of Kenya has offered the government of Uganda the following concessions: veto power on any changes in the pipeline tariff. The cost of transportation in the pipeline tariff You don't sit in Nairobi and you say, we need some money to do ABCD. Let's increase the cost of transport of this fuel. When we don't know, excuse us. We give you 65%. We must have a say so that our people back home who consume the products are comfortable. Don't wake up and prices are high because the tariff has an impact on the end user tariff, last mile tariff. The third one was appointment of at least, not at most, at least 2 directors to the board. It is now a public company.
The Ugandan, Kenyan and Tanzanian Railways corporations are reviewing their tripartite agreement with the goal of signing a new and binding framework to strengthen regional rail transport. A joint delegation from the Kenyan and Ugandan Railways corporations met the Minister of Works and Transport, Katumba Wamala, to update him on the progress of negotiations and the proposed timelines for concluding the agreement.
Uganda Railways Corporation and Kenya Railways Corporation are forging renewed partnerships aimed at boosting cargo transport by rail between the Port of Mombasa and Kampala. To ensure smooth and efficient cargo operations, the Managing Director of Uganda Railways Corporation, Benon Kajuna, emphasized the need for a binding tripartite agreement that clearly outlines the roles and obligations of each partner state.
Of course, we are going to work hand in hand with the Tanzania Railways Corporation, and we are saying from now up to June 30th, we should have finalized it. And the legal departments will be able to take the lead together with the operations department so that they can be able to look at the nitty-gritties of this. Then we also agreed that every month we shall be meeting with our attorney generals, the solicitor general's offices, to make sure that the moment we finalize like this, then we are able to give it to them and they are able to clear. So the main objective is to make sure that we improve on the movement of our goods seamlessly from Mombasa, from Dar es Salaam, through to Kampala.
The meeting with the ministers sought to brief him on the status of the negotiations, the expected time frame for signing the new agreement, and the anticipated outcomes once the framework is operational.
When you see the trucks which are on our roads and the number of accidents, if we can move them onto the rail, that would be better. But also to give the transporters affordable transport means. Road transport is very expensive. So I'm happy that these developments have come and that now you are getting together as we were before. As we were before. If sometimes it's very interesting. If our forefathers then were able to work together, and yet they were not as exposed as we are, why are we failing to work together in this age? When we are, yes.
With the population of the East African community steadily rising, cargo volumes destined for the region have grown significantly, increasing pressure on existing transport infrastructure.
If you walk out here and drive from Kampala to Malaba, you will take almost 5 to 6 hours. Because this evening, you cannot drive along those roads because in every 1 meter, you have a lorry. What is the implication? Our governments are spending so much money to repair and maintain roads. It doesn't matter how many roads you build. You can build roads going up, downwards, underground. You will never have sufficient roads for these lorries. So what we are saying, let us have a balance where cargo goes by railway system and some cargo also goes by road.
By shifting substantial portion of the over 17 million tons of cargo destined for Uganda from road to rail, stakeholders say the rail, once the preferred mode of freight transport, can reclaim its lost prominence while reducing road congestion and transport costs.
Kampala, Uganda, we are strategically located as a transport hub because we are served by different corridors. And we are saying we should utilize that as a way of improving our logistics to connect to South Sudan, to DRC, to Rwanda, Burundi, and also back to Kenya and Tanzania.
we should be looking at that, going in that direction, so that we enable our region to grow. I know, if we had really, the East African region, we had moved at the pace at which we were moving before, before it collapsed. Before 77. Yes. I think by now it would be very far. But whatever happened, happened. Let's pick lessons, let's pick ourselves, and be able to move on.
At the moment, we have actually resolved our operations between Kenya Railways Corporation and the Uganda Railways Corporation. And now we are moving seamless from the port of Mombasa to Kampala, Jinja, and sometimes we are going all the way to Tororo. We had a challenge in Kenya where we have a place called Kijambe, which was affected by the rains. Last month, we opened up that area. Now our trains for the meet and gauge are moving expressly from the port of Mombasa right to Uganda. And the TD problems in Malaba have been resolved. So we expect now the volume of cargo in our region and between our two countries to grow.
In more news, Jubilee Dental has become the first dental clinic in Uganda to attain the International Organization for Standardization 9001-2015 certification. According to UNBS, the milestone is expected to inspire more established companies across various sectors of the economy to pursue internationally recognized standards.
To hand over the ISO 9001.
The Uganda National Bureau of Standards is urging local companies and organizations to strive for International Organization for Standardization ISO certification as a pathway to improving quality, competitiveness and credibility in both local and international markets.
We're trying to encourage members to follow these standards because this kind of process allows you to check yourself, to ask yourself the questions that you need to ask. It allows you to see what is going on within your entity and gives you an opportunity to do what you need to do, to make sure you're using the best opportunity possible to give the service that you're offering and to make sure that it's consistent.
This call was made during an event where Jubilee Dental, a leading dental care provider in Uganda, was officially awarded the ISO 9001-2015 certification.
So it is my honor and privilege.
Initially, the drive toward certification was motivated by the ambition to access opportunities in the lucrative oil and gas sector, where international certification is often a mandatory requirement.
And that was the bait. It was the bait that brought us into, we called UNBS and inquired what is required, and they connect us to the consultant. So we began this journey, which we thought would just take a few months. But the more we went into it, the more we realized the value of it for our organization, to a point where we didn't really mind whether we got the certification or not. We realized the benefit of it in terms of establishing systems.
The ISO 9001-2015 Quality Management Certification reflects adherence to globally recognized quality principles, including standardized clinical procedures, robust infection prevention and control systems, structured risk management frameworks, and continuous improvement mechanisms.
Many do not know the process. They usually go straight to the certification body, but on our end, most of the consultants who get confused, we help them, guide them on the actual processes.
Dennis Igor for UBC.
The Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda has launched the 5th edition of its Insurance Week Drive and Exposition geared at deepening insurance awareness and uptake. Scheduled for 19th to 26th March, the annual Insurance Week has become a flagship industry platform bringing together insurers, brokers and agents to showcase the sector's progress. Take a look.
We shall crown it off with the Insurance Innovations Awards, which will recognize innovative solutions and products transforming the insurance industry. We deliberately extended the schedule of this year's Insurance Week to a full week, including a weekend, to give the public more time to engage meaningfully with the licensed players and also the key financial stakeholders in order to understand the working of insurance and other financial solutions. And indeed, it will give you an opportunity to access insurance and other essential services.
We are looking at insurance not just as a source of premiums, we are not looking at it as a source of survival for insurers, but also the people part is very, very important. That's why this time, as the Insurance Training College, we are mobilizing students across the country to be part of the Insurance Week.
Future eriku kushua ne insure. That theme resonates with the masses. It brings the aspect of insurance and the aspect of trust closer to the masses. As the Uganda Insurance Association, we shall focus on promoting the digital stickers.
Elsewhere in the world, a new report warned that employee fraud costs Nigerian small businesses nearly $7 billion annually. Analysts say internal theft and financial manipulation threaten the stability of MSMEs, which play a critical role in job creation and economic development.
When Ejiro Pius opened her restaurant in 2019, her goal was clear: grow the business and build loyal customers. Sales were steady, the kitchen was busy, but profits kept dropping. She later discovered some employees were diverting customer payments into their own accounts.
Employees were giving their personal account numbers to people buying food. When people come to buy food, if they say they want to do a transfer, I noticed a lot of decrease in profits. But then when running a day-to-day business that you receive day-to-day income, it's really difficult to pinpoint where the issues is coming from, because you sell every day and you make money every day.
Ejiro's experience reflects a much wider problem. The CPPE report estimates that employee fraud is costing Nigeria's MSMEs over $6.7 billion every year. The losses stem from internal theft, embezzlement, account manipulation, and other unethical practices. Business policy analyst Orok Uno says the impact could spread beyond individual firms.
If you look at the indicators, definitely you can see that many of these businesses are not going to survive. It is still going to lead to these other systemic problems like low unemployment rates. Government is not going to be able to be getting the taxation that it's looking for. It is a big problem.
MSMEs make up nearly 80% of businesses in Nigeria and employ about 60% of the workforce. That makes them central to economic stability. But the report says 1 in 4 firms has suffered significant fraud-related losses. Many small businesses operate informally, often without strong internal controls, increasing their exposure. Corporate governance expert Paul Ogu says weak systems create opportunity.
You attempt fraud when you see the loopholes. I mean, that is one. I mean, if you don't have effective control system, people will actually take a risk. Most times we do business on sentiment. That is one. In terms of when you have to employ a relative, employ people that you know.
Without proper record keeping or routine audits, financial leakages can continue unnoticed for months. Analysts say basic bookkeeping and consistent monitoring are critical first steps.
The first thing is that you need to have some kind of accounting documentation, all right? Your basic bookkeeping is very important. But even more important, as far as I'm concerned, is daily monitoring.
it goes with scale. Your liquidity, the amount of cash you have for you to be able to set up those monitoring, those control that are strong enough to make sure fraud and theft doesn't take place.
Small businesses here do more than just generate profits. They sustain livelihoods across the country. But when billions of dollars are lost within, expansion slows, investor confidence weakens, and access to credit becomes harder. Experts say unless governance improves and internal controls are strengthened, the very sector driving Nigeria's economy could face deeper strain. For many entrepreneurs, protecting revenue is now just as important as making sales. Kelechi Amekala, CGT and Abuja, Nigeria.
The ISO 9001. We're trying to encourage members to follow these standards because this kind of process allows you to check yourself, to ask yourself the questions that you need to ask. It allows you to see what is going on within your entity and gives you an opportunity to do what you need to do to make sure you're using the best opportunity possible to give the service that you're offering and to make sure that it's consistent. You see, a lot of us are naturally assume because we are able to do something, we can do it. But this standard allows you to check yourself, to be checked by others, and to confirm that you're actually able to offer a service, good service that is consistent. So yes, we are encouraging private sector to take this up. We have the oil and gas sector that has required this kind of certification. But it's not just about the oil and gas sector. And this is what I love about Jubilee Dental. They may have started as creating themselves, putting themselves in a space that they can offer services in the oil and gas sector. But once they started the process, they realized this was about themselves. Well done. Have we got our picture?
And now in our Sounds of Business, we take you to Sipi Falls in Kapchorwa district for its breathtaking scenery view. Enjoy.
I didn't expect to be cold, and I've forgotten how it was. Yeah, I've ever been cold, but this time it was But anyway, perfect, I made it.
In light of KCCA's recent directive to rid vendors without legally gazetted trade spaces from streets of Kampala to gazetted market centers, we urge entrepreneurs with products that can be sold anywhere to start selling their products online. You'll be shocked how well that works out. Otherwise, we thank you so much for your audience. My name is Moureen Babirye. From me and the entire team, we wish you a good night.